Hey guys, there are things that have come to our attention about playing Boot Hill. Since we have never played this RPG before, there may be times that we have to either look things up or just kind of wing it, in which Greg will do his best to edit these out, but please be patient and enjoy.
Boot Hill is what is called a period piece. This means that all the color and flavor of life in the 1880s Old West is going to be very prevalent.
Although some characters may spout sexist, racist, or degrading speech and ideals, we ourselves are neither endorsing nor encouraging such behavior.
In the end, our intentions are to create an immersive and mostly believable story set in the Old West. So, if we offend, unnerve, or upset our listeners in any way, we want to apologize in advance.
Since we can't think of any more legal disclaimers to bog the podcast down any further, welcome to the world of Boot Hill. The blackness, the all-encompassing blackness, is broken by a high-pitched screech as if it sounds like metal on metal almost. And then an ear-piercing whistle, high-pitched whistle is blown, and it kind of brings you to your senses. Ovak, the first thing you realize is that Moradin isn't there. Perhaps your magic isn't going to work.
I start to, since my god isn't there, I start to get very nervous that the sense of loneliness kind of
immediately encompasses you. You all realize as you're coming to, as the darkness is lifting, that you're in new bodies, as the Dark Elves said that you were going to be, and you sense that there are differences about you. General skill sets are similar. You're the same kind of person with subtle differences, staying relatively the same, yet different. You all quickly, as your vision comes around, realize that there are going to be skills and things that your body will instinctively remember or know that you don't necessarily know overtly right off the bat. But, little things will seem familiar to you. For example, as your vision settles, you find yourselves in a large box, which you quickly realize it's a train. You're all in a train car. So, Zerosi, you're standing up in a train car. You're wearing different clothes, sort of strange-looking clothes, standing up in the middle of an aisle in the middle of the train car with the seats on either side of you. Confused, you look around and you see that there are several people in this train car with you. It's obviously some sort of passenger car. Looking to your left, you see sitting down on a bench is Ovak. He looks like Ovak, but he's wearing different clothes as well. Not as neat. Your clothes look neat. His clothes look sort of dirty and dusty. Ovak, same thing. You realize, hey, I'm in a train. And the screeching metal sound was the brakes being forcibly applied, jerking to a stop as the whistle's blowing high pitch. Looking around, you also see that you're in a passenger car, people everywhere. You look to your right, and you see standing in the aisle next to you is Zerosi. But he's wearing, strange clothes. And he looks a lot cleaner and neater than you do.
So I'm going to turn to him, and I'm just, Zerosi, where are we? Do you have any idea?
Zerosi will answer back. I am just as confused as you as to where we are right now.
So as you're kind of getting your bearings, you're not even sure what's going on, suddenly you hear some pop noises, as if, firecrackers, little explosions or something, coming from the front area of the train.
Now, is my new memories, I guess? Would I know what these are? The pops?
Well, you kind of your curiosity starts going. Both of you, actually, curiosity starts going, and then suddenly, as soon as you give it a little thought, you realize they're shooting. They're guns, and you're like, wait, what's a gun? And then you kind of put that. It all comes flooding in, sort of that's like a trigger that snaps, and all the memories of what that noise is and what causes that noise kind of comes back to you. And Zerosi, you realize that you have one of those guns in a holster your hip. And Ovac, you realize that, wait a minute, I have one too, but that doesn't sound like mine. You know, mine's different somehow. I'm not really sure how, but mine's different. You don't have the details yet, but little subtle things like that start kind of coming into your brain. And immediately after that, the first thing that you do is like, wait a minute, where's Grug? Because there's no sign of Grug anywhere. And then, moments after that, the people in the passenger car start panicking. Like, you know, oh, what's that? You know, and there are some people looking out the window, and you hear them mentioning, it's Colonel Daughtry's gang. It's the Daughtry boys. We're being robbed. We're being held up. And there's sort of a general panic. You know, nobody's like running out of the car or anything, but they're all kind of like, you know. So you see some people like obviously hiding valuables, you know, under their seat or whatever.
Now, like, through my knowledge of this area, do I know Daughtry at all or anything?
Once that name is said, once again, it kind of triggers some memories, as many things will down the course of this adventure goes. But yeah, Colonel Daughtry is an old colonel in the military, and he got out of the military and moved out to the west, to the frontier land, to get away from the big life and the military life. And apparently he has formed a group of bandits, perhaps, you know, the Daughtry gang. You don't know a whole lot about them. You don't know if they were good or bad. Was he like, you know, was he a vigilante out fighting crime? You know, you don't really know a whole lot about him, other than the fact that this Colonel Daughtry, he's ex-military, he's got a group of guys, he lives in the frontier. That's about all you can recollect right now.
Okay.
I want to look out the window, see if I can see how many are out there.
Okay,
so you kind
of lean over Ovac to look out the window, and right as you're doing that, two military, you know, they're wearing the army blue uniforms, carrying rifles. They're shouldering their way through the center aisle, moving from the front of the passenger car toward the back of the passenger car, and they kind of brush past you, you know, out of the way, and they move back, and they go out the back door of the passenger car. And when they do so, Ovac, you're kind of looking back, you see that there's another car behind you, and then that kind of triggers you vaguely remember a foggy memory of you getting on the train, that this is it's like a 6-car passenger train, but the last car is like a prison car, like they were transferring somebody. Wait a minute, they're transferring prisoners or something.
Okay, so I'm gonna like look back and make sure that it's not like a escape, like prison escape or something like that. I'm gonna.
So you actually go with the guards?
Yeah, I'm gonna like get up and kind of follow them.
Okay.
And then oddly enough, I'm just gonna like reach for my pistol, which I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Like for the most part, but I'm just gonna start like loading it, like musket. Revolutionary musket style, like pouring black powder in and putting stuff in, and I'm just very confused as to why I'm doing it, but I know that this is how to load this pistol.
Okay, so yes, actually your pistol that you have isn't a standard, like, you know, single action revolver, double action revolver pistol. It's more of it's a very old military style smooth bore muzzle loading pistol from, you know, decades and decades ago. But back when you were in the military, this is what you used, and somehow it has sentimental value. You know, you don't really know, but you get that feeling that it's very
important to me.
Yeah, it's very dear to you, which is why you still use it. But yeah, you start doing it, and you're like, wow, what? It almost muscle memory, as you just know how to load it. Huh. And you're loading it as you move back there. Zerosi, looking out the window, you actually see that there are at least half a dozen horses. 2 of them still have riders on them, but the others are riderless, sitting kind of near the front of the train off the tracks to the side. And the 2 people that are still on the horses have bandanas up around covering their nose and mouth, you know, sort of Old West bandit style. And you realize immediately that these guys are hijacking or robbing or something with this train. All right, so going back to Ovac, you follow those 2 guards to the back. You know, they open the door and go in. They close the passenger door behind them, but you're close enough where you just kind of catch it before it closes and keep it open. Looking back into the prison car behind, you see that there are several cells Okay? And in one of the cells, you see Grug. But Grug is also wearing different clothes. He's almost naked. He's just got like a loincloth and a headband on. Okay? And he's just sort of sitting there. He looks kind of dejected, like lost or sad or something. And the two guards are kind of looking at him. There are a total of 6 cells, just kind of bars in the train car with a hallway leading down the middle all the way to the back door. Grug is the only person in the cells, with the exception of one of the cells toward the back of the car, which also has sitting on the bench of the cell, is actually lying down on the bench is a figure, obviously either sleeping or passed out or something. And the guards are standing there with their rifles ready, as if to defend or prevent escape or something.
Okay, I'm gonna yell to Grug. Grug, what has happened to you?
So when you do that, Grug, you see Ovak standing there, except he's wearing a bunch of like old dusty clothing. He's not wearing his armor and doesn't have his hammer. He looks very different, but he does still look like Ovak.
Do I have any memories of how I got here or why I'm here?
Vague memories of you being like beaten and thrown, basically just kind of forcibly thrown into this cell. You're not even sure why, but you get a feeling that you're different somehow, that you're not like Ovak and these guards. Something's different about you. You don't feel welcome. You feel like these people don't like you, and you don't know why.
So I'm going to respond to Ovak. Grug, not quite sure why he here.
Okay, so immediately upon that exchange, the two guards with their rifles, they both look at Ovak, who's standing kind of in the doorway of this prison car. They go, "Get out of here, you crazy old coot! Can't you tell the train's being jumped? Go back to your seat!"
And I try and talk to them. Like, I just kind of be like, "Hey, I'm just worried about my friend over here," kind of thing.
Okay.
But
you start saying that, they look at you like, "Quit your talking gibberish, old fella. Go sit down in your seat."
I just kind of stand there and like in awe, I guess. I'm confused as to why they think I'm talking gibberish.
Okay. One of the two kind of moves toward you. He's got his rifle in front of him, sort of at an angle, and he's kind of pushing you. "Go on, get back in there."
So I've taken some time. I looked out the window. I don't know if I necessarily hear that exchange at the end of the car or into the next car.
You
but
don't.
I do know,
because there's so much ruckus going on in the passenger car. You can't really hear. You hear some shouting, but you don't hear what they're saying.
But I do know that Ovak followed back, so I'm gonna go after him now that I see what's happening up ahead.
So you make your way to the back of the passenger car, kind of where they connect. And just visual clarity here, the cars aren't directly connected. There is about a 3 or 4 foot space in between the doors, in between the cars, where there's like a little ledge. You're basically outside in between the two cars. And the passenger door is open with nobody in it. And then the prison cell car door is open, and Ovak is kind of standing in that open door. So you're making your way back there. You kind of are approaching as you hear the exchange.
Does he continue basically like get Ovak completely out of the?
Yeah, he's like pushing over, like, "Oh, go on, old man, get out of here."
So yeah, I'm just kind of pushing. Like I'm not fighting him, just because I'm just confused in general at what's going on.
So
right
you're like slowly giving ground, stumbling, stepping backwards as he's pushing you.
I'm not fighting him.
Okay. Zerosi, you kind of get to the back of the car where the door's open, and Ovak, you're also there. The guard's kind of standing in the open space between the cars, and you're in the open door. And he's like, "Go on, get in there." And he starts to turn around to go back into the prison car. And Ovak, you see Zerosi is right behind you now.
Zerosi, do we get Grug right now, or I feel like we should, because I think he's in danger.
Did you found Grug?
Yes, I found Grug. He's just right through this door right over here. He's being guarded by 2 men with muskets, I guess.
So when the guard pushed him out and turned around, did he leave the door open and we can still see in, or?
Yeah, no, he goes back into the prison car door or prison car and closes the door behind him. And just as that door closes, the front door to the passenger car is forcibly kicked open, and you see several masked bandits with their pistols, which you realize those are their guns, those are their pistols, those are what shoot and make noises and can kill you. That kind of floods in. That fight or flight feeling starts to come in and everything.
Well, I was gonna say, if I can, just out of habit, my reaction the moment that door behind us starts opening, or we hear whatever,
Yeah, get kicked
I'm
open.
just gonna duck off to the side, outside of the cart.
Okay, so you're in the back of the passenger car. With that, the passenger back door is open,
Yeah.
but the prison car front door is closed. So you basically just kind of go outside in the space in between,
Yep,
around
and
the
then-
corner of the door.
Yeah.
So Ovac, he kind of pushes out and goes outside, kind of getting cover or hiding, so to speak, on the other side of the door. Do you follow suit? He kind of pushes you, so you're kind of outside already too.
Yeah, I'm outside, but this door's still open, so I'm just gonna kind of like raise my arm, like how I still have my shield.
Right, like as if you were holding a shield instinctively.
Instinctively, I'm just gonna raise my arm, and then I'm gonna like cock back my arm to like throw my hammer, but then realize that I have a pistol that can shoot, kind of a thing, and I know that I should not throw this.
Right. So you're holding it by the pistol grip, not by the barrel.
Yeah.
So you're holding it by the pistol grip, you're going to throw it, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have a shield, and this is not my hammer. Yeah, those realizations kind of come in, and then you kind of, as you're confused and worried about your battle instinct, you kind of back around the corner, too, on the outside, on the other side of the open door. So you're both kind of in that space between the cars, using the car itself as cover. All right, so the gunmen that kicked open the door apparently were not concerned about you guys, because immediately they start, you hear them say, "Where is he? Where is he? We'll find you." And they're going through and they're looking around. Zoro, so you're kind of peeking around, just side of, half your face and your eyeball peeking around the corner. You see them going through, looking at all the passengers. And a couple seconds later, one of the bandits is like, "Here he is!" And they grab an older man. He's probably in his late 50s, early 60s, which is pretty darn old for Old West. But yeah, they see him and they kind of pick him up. And he gives a little resistance, but you quickly realize that there's zero way this guy's going to be fighting him. And so they just kind of lift him up and start taking him out of the front. They're heading that way.
I'm like, with everything that's happening, I kind of like, more than not being there, I don't have my hammer or shield. Like, I'm kind of hesitant to engage just because I don't feel like I can handle melee combat, so getting close to them. But then I also don't want to like shoot my pistol and hit like innocent bystanders.
Yeah, there's about 20 other people in this passenger car, and a few women and children as well.
Yeah, and I'm weighing the odds, and I know there's no way that I want to start stuff with this many bandits compared to the two of us.
So as you're thinking that, and they're making their way out, you do see that about in the middle of the passenger car, there is a man that does stand up, and he starts reaching like he's pulling his pistol out. He's going to shoot these guys, and one of the bandits just immediately just boom shoots him, and he just falls back over the back of the passenger car chair. You don't know if he's dead or not, but you witness firsthand the power of these firearms, these pistols, as he points it, and boom, loud noise, and this dude goes falling over the back of the chair. And a lot of the women are screaming, the children are crying, and the other men are like, oh, immediately kind of like being bashful, very much so. Nobody is rising up against, as the several bandits take the old man that they've kind of kidnapped, and they leave out the front door. Right as they leave out the front door of the passenger car, you hear a slam and then several more shots fired from the prison car behind you.
My initial thought is like, Grug might have been killed by these people, so I'm gonna reopen the door and see what's going on there.
Okay, so the doors actually do have windows in them.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you kind of quickly look back through the window of the passenger car, and you see that the back door of the passenger car, which leads basically to the back of the train, several more bandits with masks on have kicked that door open and are engaged in a firefight with those 2 guards. Well, those two army guard guys, they have no cover. I mean, they've got their rifles, so they got the firepower on the bandits, but there's no cover, so they're pretty much, it's hopeless. And just even as you watch, within the second or two that you turn and look, you see both of those guards get shot and fall.
Okay, I'm just gonna watch right now. I mean, if the bandits go for Grug at all, then I'm gonna...
Yeah, because Grug is actually at the very front. Like, he's right on the other side of the door, basically, from you.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, if they start making their way in, you're going to do something. But
yeah.
They do actually come into the prison car, but they don't go very far. They just go to that first cell where that guy was lying down. And, Grug, you actually hear what's transpiring. You hear him saying, like, "Come on, we're getting you out of this. They ain't going to catch you one of the Daughtry boys." And, you know, another gunshot as he shoots the lock. Boom, and the door opens up, and the guy that was lying down kind of was like, "Yeah, let's go, boys!" And he gets up, and they all leave out the back door.
I'm going to call out, ooh, Grug 2, Grug 2.
"Shut up, you Indian!"
Grug Daughtry, Grug what? Grug? No,
and then
Indian.
they say that as they leave.
Grug just played this harmonica he knows how to play, apparently.
You don't have a harmonica.
Damn. Brad, you take away all the fun.
But you do see that the two guards, the 2 soldiers that were guarding you, one of them has a key ring on his belt, and he's just basically lying down on the ground right in front of you, right in front of your cell there.
Can I reach him?
Oh, easily.
Even in my normal world logic, I know a key goes to the lock, so I'm going to reach out there and grab that key ring.
Okay.
And then start testing keys on the locks, because I'm assuming there's 6 keys.
Yep.
Huh. So I'm going to start trying keys.
Okay.
And then I see Grug do this, like, as I'm looking through the window?
Yeah, looking through the window, you see him come in, you hear the shot. You know, you were making sure they weren't coming up toward Grug, which they weren't. You see him, shoot the lock and let the other guy out, and they all kind of run really quickly, like they're in a big hurry, out the back door.
Okay, so as I see Grug take the key ring off and do that, I'm going to turn because knowing he's okay, I'm going to turn my attention to the dude who got shot.
Okay.
And, like, go up and try and, like, heal. Like,
like cast Cure Light Wounds?
Yeah.
All right, so you kind of run up to him and you make the motions, but as you start doing that, not only do you feel nothing, like normally you can kind of feel the channeling powers and your Moradin's blessing to transfer the heat. You feel nothing, emptiness, and everybody's kind of looking at you like, and one of there's a little boy on the seat behind. He's kind of peeking over. He goes, "Are you a doctor?"
So I'm gonna turn to the boy and, well, I have special abilities that allow me to heal. That makes me a doctor. Then yes, I guess.
You sound funny.
What do you mean?
Mom, listen to this guy. And she said, No, sit down.
I don't understand, but I don't have time right now. I have to heal this person.
Okay, Zerosi, you're kind of witnessing this whole exchange. You kind of are like, maybe not only do you look different, but maybe you sound different as well. Like the voice you're using isn't what other people hear, just like the visage that you look like maybe isn't what other people see. Maybe you look at Ovak and see Ovak, but other people look at him and see something else, that kind of thing. Your high intelligence kind of allows you to kind of start piecing this together. You're not all the way sure on this yet, though. So anyway, yeah, you can't figure out Ovak. You can't figure out why your healing's not working. Probably something, the bond with Moradin has been severed. Your magic's not going to work in this world.
So then, just like an overwhelming sadness comes over me, just because I've only ever known connection with my god. But then, like, for whatever reason, my hand just starts to, like, cover up the wound and doing, like, practices that I don't know.
Right. You suddenly, that's the trigger. Once again, a memory starts coming back. You do know how to do first aid. You do know basic medicine. You're pretty sure that given tools and time, you could extract this bullet, which is causing potential further damage to him and stuff. All of this stuff starts kind of flooding in. So perhaps you are a doctor of some sorts. But before, action can be taken beyond, putting pressure on the wound, a man that you guys realized was sitting next to the old guy that was captured. A man sits down and he's got like a doctor's bag. He like opens it up and he's got like doctor tools in it or something, which you just kind of mysteriously recognize as a doctor's bag. He is a healer of some sorts. But he says, out of the way, old man. I can help this man.
I am more than capable of healing him. Do not worry.
I can't understand a thing you're saying. Please, just let me do my work.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
please,
confused.
please.
All right.
And he starts
I guess.
elbowing you out of the way.
Golly gee.
Okay, and he's helping the guy.
So when I see this guy that was sitting next to the man that got taken away, I'm gonna approach while he's working.
Okay. And as you kind of approach him, you hear him saying, I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be all right, everybody."
And I'm gonna kneel down, and I want to ask him if it seems like I can without interrupting his work too much.
Right.
I noticed that you were sitting next to the man the bandits took away. Do you happen to know anything about that man?
Well, I from conversation I had with him, I know he's a scientist, but I'm not sure of what field he is a scientist of. I believe his name was, what did he say his name was? Felix Gustavsson. And then he goes back to working on.
So Grug's going to open the cage, go out the prison door, and go into the passenger cart. He's going to say, "Grug joins the party." As there's like just chaos and the dude's shotting down.
Right. Grug, you walk in and you say that, and several other people, like some of the women grab their children and pull them closer, and some of the men, immediately upon looking back at you, some of them have like a panic look, some of them have like a scowl that comes across their face, and nobody says anything to you.
I don't really know that I would do anything. I would just go up to Ovak.
Okay.
Really. Grug, follow Ovak.
Grug, I am glad to see you alive and out of that jail, I guess.
Grug think this is a strange place.
It is a very lonely place. I do not feel safe here.
What make boom sound? Grug very confused.
It's I don't really quite understand it yet, but I know it's a pistol. But besides that,
Grug no idea what pistol is.
Yeah, apparently Grug would need a bigger trigger than that.
Well, let's just try shooting him.
So yeah,
that would trigger way more than you're ready for.
You're kind of discussing things, and it is at this point that two men come in through the front door of the passenger car. They're both soldiers. One of them has like his arm wrapped in a sling, kind of close to his body, and you see some blood stain coming through the shoulder part of the sling. And they're kind of looking around at everybody, and is everything all right? Is everything? They're gone. Don't worry, everybody. They're gone.
This man he's been shot. If we have a better doctor than this dude who thinks he can heal.
What is this crazy coot saying? Anybody understand what this crazy coot's saying?
I don't understand why everyone's confused.
Grug say he worried about man injured on ground.
What the heck fire are you doing out of your cage, Injun?
Grug no engine.
This is Grug. He is my longtime companion. I'm confused.
We got a crazy coot Injun. Anybody make sense of what's going on here?
I'm gonna actually at this point I'm gonna look down at my arms.
Okay.
They
look regular.
Okay. Would they be a darker tone?
No. You look to yourself like Grug.
Like yourself. Yeah. Okay.
Zerosi, am I speaking tongues right now? I'm confused.
So
I keep trying to step
yeah,
in.
Zerosi, you're starting to put together that your initial assumption may be correct, that they don't hear him like you hear him.
Zerosi replies that Ovak here is just worried about the man who's been shot. You say everything's fine now. We just want to make sure he's taken care of.
And the doctor at that point kind of looks up he's like, he'll be fine. Once we get to Promise City, the facilities there will be sufficient to help him out. And at that point, the two guards that have come in are like, you can understand what this fella's saying? And this basically just solidifies your suspicion that these other people hear you differently than you hear each other. So from this point on, your characters, when speaking to NPCs, will use their Old West Boot Hill voice, but when talking to each other, you can maintain your original character's voice. Okay?
Okay.
Well, yeah, I understand this guy. I've been traveling with him for some time now. You just come to figure this stuff out.
Well, you just tell him to get back in his seat, and we're about to continue on toward Promise City. I just don't want we just want to make sure we're there all right. I mean, there's been enough commotion for one day.
That'll be fine. He understands you just fine.
All right. What about this engine?
Grug, no engine.
Still just confused.
Yeah.
So it's clear to us then that these guards know that he was locked up back there.
Apparently so.
Well, just a minute ago, those bandits came in through the back as well. They took out those guards that were sent back there, but he actually stepped up to prevent them from coming through to the passenger car.
What are the guards all right? And one of the two guys, not the one with the sling, but the other one, runs toward the back, while the other one with the sling stays here, and he continues his line of questioning. What do you mean? He did what now?
He managed to prevent those bandits from coming into this passenger car, shooting more people.
Well, how'd he do that?
You see how big he is?
All right, so I need you to actually roll a die. Your character actually has the bluff convince skill, a trait that your character has to convincingly do that, to make people believe something that they wouldn't normally believe. So go ahead and roll a d20. You need your skill number or lower.
I beat it by 8.
Okay, so yeah, this guard he kind of has a puzzled look on his face. He's like, well, heck fire, I guess that is sort of a deserving of a thank you. Well, you're free to go once we reach Promise City there, Injun.
I'm gonna go down and go get that one down.
And I'm just gonna get up and run towards the two injured soldiers in the prison cart.
So Ovak, you go back into the prison car to check on the wounded guards with the other guard that ran back there, and then the guard with his arm in a sling in the passenger car that's talking to Grug. He's kind of staring at Grug in disbelief and with a little bit of admiration almost.
Grug, thankful for your generosity. And then Grug's going to puzzle. He doesn't know what generosity means, but somehow he knew to say it.
Correct. Yeah, there's going to be little subtleties even in those kind of things that your characters are different enough. Their minds work the same, but there are subtle changes that like, for example, Grug's vocabulary may change a bit. So the guard basically, he says, well, if that feller's going to be all right, and I guess this engine's going to be all right, why don't you head back into that prison car, though, so you don't bother the ladies up here?
Hunkway appreciate all the gratitude. And then Grug's going to take a second and try and, what the hell is a Hunkway?
Exactly. So your subconscious or your unconscious mind, subconscious mind, whatever, realizes that the body that you're in, it's the body's name, the person that you're possessing. His name is Hunkway, and he is a Native American. He is an Indian of one of the tribes of Indians that had been, fighting the white man's expansion into the West. And it just kind of came to you that your name was Hunkway.
Do I start to understand Native American and like a little bit more about where I'm from and what I've gone through?
Not yet. That's
okay.
gonna come in waves as you once again you start trigger, which makes you realize that your name is still Grug in your mind, but you're also Hunkway, which is this person that you're in. Okay?
And then I'm going to go back to the prison.
Okay. Where you see the guard that had come in to the passenger car that ran back here just a second ago is over the two lying down soldier guards, and Ovak is there with them.
And I'm just gonna tell the guard that I can step aside. I'm gonna try and do medicine.
Okay. So the guard looks at you and he's like, I can't understand a damn thing coming out of your mouth, fella.
Boy, you better know what I'm talking about.
So a quick inspection of the two soldiers reveals that they are both dead. One has a shot basically straight in his heart, and the other one has a couple shots in his chest. It looks like he suffered for a minute or two and then died. Blessing in disguise, because they would go against possibly go against your story about Grug saving the passenger car.
Grug, I do not know what his, these people are dead. I don't, there's nothing I can do for them. And so I feel like these military people might hold it against you.
Hunkway, Grug, I mean, now confused. No resurrect? No bring back life? Grug don't understand magic. Grug very confused by magic.
More than his left me. I am all alone. I am a shell of the man I used to be.
Grug think even gods need vacation.
Okay, right after that sentence, the whole train lurches as it starts slowly moving forward again.
Grug wonder what happening. Grug/Hunkway. Grug confused Hunkway. No, what happening?
Do not worry. We are merely moving. It is already. It's like a minecart.
Oh, okay then.
So the train lurches as it starts moving forward, continuing its journey toward what you realize is a city, a place called Promise City, which was the original destination of this train. And it picks up speed, slowly starting to go again. Do you guys want to do anything to pass the time while you're continuing? Ask any questions of any of the passengers or the guards? Or
Grug's pretty exhausted from all this magical blackness. He's just going to take a nap on the bench.
Okay.
In the prison cell.
Yeah, they don't actually lock the doors,
but it's closed.
But they do close it. And the guard, they take the two bodies of the deceased guard soldiers and they move them up to the front of the, apparently they're putting all the people that got killed together in one of the front wagons in the locomotive or something.
Cool.
The healthy guard takes the two dead ones up, but the guy that got shot in the shoulder with the sling, he stays back there with you. He feels like he made a connection with you when he was talking to you.
Hang out? Okay.
Yeah. Well...
Or is he, guarding me?
Grug thinks he's there to hang out.
Okay.
But, yeah, he's really there just to make sure that, everything is going without further incident. All right, so back into the passenger car. We got Ovak and Zarosi. What are you guys doing?
Oh, did Ovak come back to the passenger car? Because he went back there.
Yeah, he went back there. The guys were dead. He talked a little bit, and then he came back to the passenger car.
Okay.
Unless you want to stay back there with Grug and the soldier guard.
Actually, I kind of want to stay back there and try and talk to the soldier guard and see what's going on.
So the soldier guard is sitting back there with somebody he doesn't understand because he talks gibberish, and an Indian, a Native American, who he has some hidden respect for because of his apparent heroic deed, which really didn't happen, but his heroic deed. So he's got mixed feelings for Hunkway, or Grug in this case. Okay.
So as I'm looking at the guard and I see that he's kind of admiring him, I'm just gonna kind of start to flex in front of him, and I'm just gonna go, I am equally as strong as Grug here. You should be impressed with my capability as well.
But really, you sound like what?
Hey, go down, look at the mountain wow, so I'm equally strong. Wow.
Just for any listeners at home, if you want to kind of get a visual aid to help you see in your mind's eye what these guys look like, we have posted pictures on Podbean, and it's accessible through Facebook. Go ahead and check them out so you can kind of see what everybody's looking like in this new Boot Hill Wild West world.
And I would say I actually, right now, very much think that you should look at what Ovak looks like, just so you know, that's what's flexing to these guards.
Yeah. And so you start flexing your muscle there, and the guard can't understand you. I just don't understand a damn thing coming out of this old feller's mouth. He looks back at you, and you're 5'5" frame. You are actually 5'5", which is a foot and almost a foot and a half taller than you were before. So you feel, if anything, you feel stronger. But yeah,
I'm a wiry one.
you are not strong in this new body. But you don't know that necessarily yet. So yeah, you're flexing. The guard kind of looks at you with a quizzical look and then says that to Grug, and then just kind of continues. The train's kind of shaking because it's not a smooth ride. It's an Old West train.
Grug say, "Be quiet, Ovak. It's nap time."
I thought Grug followed me. We should have flex contest.
Grug tired. Magic exhausting.
All right, so let's go to the passenger car. What do you got, Zerosi?
So yeah, I want to talk to the doctor some more and
Okay.
see if I can find out some more information about Colonel Daughtry's gang.
Okay. So the doctor actually, he's finishing up, putting the few last finishing touches on stabilizing the guy that got shot, who is unconscious, but the doctor swears he's going to be fine. He's putting the last bandages. He kind of curses the fact that the train is, shaking as it's moving. Apparently, he's going to go up front with the other either wounded or dead or wounded and dead soldiers, just to kind of be a doctor to them.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna catch him as he's first wrapping up. Was the guy still just on the floor?
No, he moved him onto a bench.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You mind if I ask you a few more questions before you head on up there? I'm just curious about this Colonel Daughtry's gang. They roam these parts pretty regularly? I'm not from the area.
Well, fortunately, neither am I, sir. I've recently made my way heading to Promise City to hopefully start a practice or get in on a practice that's existing to help these folks with my expert medicine knowledge.
Well, just a little bit of dark humor, I guess. If they are roaming pretty free, at least that gives you plenty of work.
I can't say I disagree with you there, sir.
Yowza.
And then he, with the assistance of a soldier guard, they move the wounded man, and the doctor goes up front with them.
I'm gonna go ahead and go back and see what these guys are up to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask the guard. So I find myself wondering here, well, what was this man arrested for in the first place that he can just so easily be let go?
Well, I don't know the specifics of the crime, but I know that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and him being an Injun and all, they ain't looked too kindly upon in this here area. Them folks has been at war with us for a long time.
Well, then, if that's all it took for him to end up locked up, what recommendations do you have to turn around and just make sure that doesn't immediately happen again as soon as he starts walking the streets?
Well, best thing you can do is keep him out of trouble. Maybe keep him close by you. Make him look like your servant fella or something. Every upper class person in some of the bigger cities got themselves an Injun servant.
Well, dang, I don't know about Grug, but he ain't no scare. I won't help him to settle down right now.
That was a long one.
Do you want to actually tell me what you said now?
Yeah.
I basically said that Grug isn't a servant, and he shouldn't dress the part as one.
Okay, I'm not actually going to explain what he said.
Okay. Or you could just change it. What the heck is that man saying?
He's just going on about how much it sucks we lost some people in that interaction.
Yeah, it sure is. I lost some fellas in that there scrap.
But this time he's clearly talking to me.
He's sad now.
Correct, and he's obviously saying that that's not what he said. All right, so the train ride continues for another hour or so, and you can feel the train starting to slow. Not the sudden screeching stop that pulled you from the blackness of the world jump, but more of a gradual stop as you pull into looking out the window, which there isn't windows in the prison car, but you kind of, Zerosi, you're kind of up at the front of the prison car looking out the front door window at the side, seeing as much as you can see, and you see that you're in a city, like a train, like at the edge of a city at the train stop. And as the train comes to a gentle stop, and then jerks at the end, and the guard's like, well, all right, fellers, looks like we're here. I think just to keep it proper, I'm going to escort y'all out just to,
I don't know. Just say prettier.
Why are they getting longer?
He's getting disgruntled.
Yeah.
He said thanks.
No, I was actually just saying that I need to go grab my gear.
And so I'm going to pipe up. He's still got his stuff in that cart forward. He's got to grab real quick before we go all back.
All right, well, go on and fetch it, and we'll meet you out back here.
Don't know.
All right.
Just walks off.
So he, he opens the door, lets Grug out, and motions for Zrosi to follow.
Grug's gonna turn to the guard right after he leads him out and say, Hung Kui, thank you.
No problem. Just remember, take my advice. It's for the best.
We will. I think we're going to go try and find him something more covering right now.
All right. Just moments later, you see Ovac come out carrying a large, like, duffel bag or, and between his hand and the bag, kind of in the handle of it, is you see a large, what looks like about a 10-gauge single-barreled rifle gun of some guy. It's like this big, 50 caliber rifle, but it's really old, like his pistol age old. It's not smoothbore, it's break barrel, the one that you break at the stock, the barrel kind of comes down, you stick the bullet in it, and you slap the barrel back up as you put the gun back together kind of thing.
Look at what I found, guys. This is an awesome weapon. I am very proud of it.
Grug think maybe you hit with it?
I can do that. It has multiple purposes.
So, welcome to Promise City, boys. So, you step off the train and, all the passengers are getting off from the passenger end, further up the train. You guys are the only ones getting off the back of the train. And, of course, there are several of the military type figures up at the front helping unload the wounded soldiers and the dead bodies and whatnot. And you notice that there are several other gentlemen in suits, and looks like they've got like cylindrical houses, almost small cylindrical houses on the top of their head. And then you realize that they're just really big top hats, and they're looking around at the different people, and one of them sees you. He kind of looks over in your direction and sees your group of people. He gets a sort of a serious look on his face as he starts walking towards you, and you all get a bad feeling about this guy, like you need to not let him get to you.
Does the guard that escorted us out?
No, he went back into the train.
Okay.
I feel like I need to go clothes shopping for this gentleman's clothing. I like it. He looks very intimidating.
He's heading your way at a rather quick step.
Yeah, so we need to just maybe not break out and run, but we need to just go the opposite direction and get off the train platform.
Grug follows Zrosi.
Ovac follow Grug.
All right, so you quickly make your way, trying to find a crowd, using Zrosi's blending in ability and streetwiseness, even in this sort of setting, to quote-unquote disappear in a crowd. That's going to be very difficult with a 6.5-foot tall Indian, or in this case, to you, it just appears as a 6.5-foot tall Grug. But he's still head and shoulders above everyone else.
So yeah, my goal, because we had talked about getting him into a different outfit, would be to just try and lose the guy long enough and find a shop, and kind of duck in, and then we can take care of that at the same time.
All right, so I'm going to have you roll a d20 to see how successful we are at disappearing into the crowd.
Gotcha. I got a 15.
All right, 15, and your base stealth skill is 12. So as you kind of manipulate through the crowd and duck into what appears to be a general store, you unsure if you lost the guy or not. But the general store is not very crowded, actually. You're the only patrons in it. And as you walk in, you are greeted by the man behind the counter. And he says, "Well, howdy, what can I do for you folks today?"
Well, I'm just here trying to get something more appropriate looking for this gentleman here. After many days on the road and dealing with bandits, I decided it was time to have some extra hired muscle, but we can't have him walking around looking like that.
Well, he ain't hardly looking. He ain't hardly got a lick of clothing on him.
Greg's gonna cover up his privates with both hands and,
Well,
put his knees together, kind of.
Well, and here we want to fix that now.
Well, I don't know that I'd rather have anything that's going to fit him pretty like, but I'll see what we can do. If you want to look over there, I got a whole stack of wearables over in that corner over
All
yonder.
right. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Stuff that gets dirty fine is perfectly all right by me.
Well, feel free to peruse my wares, if you know what I mean.
So I'm gonna go over and
Take
try and
Greg
find
with
stuff
you.
that looks like it.
And the shopkeep kind of looks over at Ovac, and he's like, "Hey, what can I get for you, old sir?"
And I just kind of like tilt my head.
Are you looking for a big hat?
And then I just like shake my head yes.
Well, you're going to have to go to a different store than what we have here. I believe there's a hat salesman further down. We just deal mostly in everyday items, nothing fancy.
You sound like a night sky.
Something to hold your pistol in, maybe?
No, it's a night sky.
You know what? I'm having a hard time understanding you. And at this point, another person walks in. You all shoot your glance over nervously at the door, and instead of seeing a tall, suited figure with a stovepipe hat walking in, you see a small, curvaceous, very attractive blonde woman come in.
Ooh, Grug.
She kind of comes in and immediately notices all three of you kind of looking at her, and she kind of stops for a second, and then she starts moving over to the counter. And the guy behind the counter, the shopkeeper who's been talking to you, Ovac, just kind of stops talking to you and goes, "Well, hello, Miss Campbell. What can I do for you today?" And she says in a very sweet voice, she's like, "Well, Bill, I'm looking for some of that rose water that I normally pick up." And he's like, "Well, of course, Miss Campbell. I always got some of that for you." And he reaches down right behind the counter and pulls up a small vial of liquid, like a potion. It's like a potion bottle, and hands it to her. And she says, "Thanks, Bill." And then he says, "Oh, if you don't mind me asking, Miss Campbell, how are things going now that, Mac's been gone for a little while? You doing all right out there?" "Oh, I'm doing just fine, Bill. I appreciate you asking. We're getting along. It's hard work, but we're managing." "All right. Well, if you need anything out there, don't be afraid to come on into town and ask old Patch here. I'll help you out." "Oh, thanks, Patch. Bill. I appreciate it."
Before she leaves, I make eye contact with her.
Okay, she turns after she finishes talking. She turns to leave and sees you stand there.
I go to lift off my hat, the hat that I don't have, but I still make the gesture of doing it.
Okay.
And I was just saying, "Hi, lady." Or
And-
"Good day, lady."
Well, right.
And we had established in the past that you do have a hat, just not one of those hats.
All right. Well, she stops and lets you do all that whole spiel, and then she says, "Well, thank you, good sir. I do appreciate your kind gesture." And she does a little pretend curtsy, and then she walks out the door.
See, Grug, that is how you talk to ladies.
Grug, think you're pretty. As she walks out.
All right. And the shopkeep, that he's watched her leave the whole way, and then kind of turns back to you, kind of shakes his head. "Whoo-wee! Well, I'm sure there's going to be some lucky feller that hooks up with her now that old Mac's gone."
So with this, I think we probably had enough time to find some stuff.
Yeah,
decent, So I'll bring that up to the storefront there.
Okay.
Well, speaking on that there, Patch, you said something, you were talking about Mac being gone. Is there problems in these parts?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, her husband just up and disappeared. Yeah, they came out here from out east to set up homesteading. They built themselves a nice little place outside Promise City, and just a few weeks ago, Mac just up and disappeared. He didn't take his horse, didn't take his nothing. He's just gone.
Has there been any other disappearances like that in these parts, or is he pretty much the only one?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in this big here town, but that's all I know as far as I heard.
All right, I'm just new to the area. I want to make sure if there's anything special I need to keep my eye out on.
Well, we all decided to go up and check on her from time to time, make sure she's all right. So, I'm sure she'd appreciate a visit if you got time.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. If we find some time, we'll go out and see if they need any help around the house.
If you want to go ahead and pay for this stuff, I'll let you go ahead and change your clothes right here so you ain't got to walk around the street almost buck-ass naked.
I reach into my pocket to grab my gold purse, my coin purse, and I don't find it.
No, you don't. But as you're reaching around looking for your gold pieces, you suddenly, that's like another trigger. You realize, wait a minute, I have dollars, which is like paper money. Greenbacks, that's what they are, greenbacks. And you reach into your pocket and pull out these rectangular pieces of paper with faces on them. And you're like, this is $5. This is $5. I have $5. You're like excited about it.
So yeah, I'll grab my cash. How much is that gonna be?
Well, the shirt and the pants. You want you to get you some tobacco? I just got a shipment in.
Yeah, I suppose I'll take some of that as well.
Okay, so he puts up this pouch. It looks like a little fold-over bag of something. And he sets it on the counter. He's like, all right, 38 cents today, sir. Yeah, I didn't get your name. What is your name? And all of a sudden, it comes just rushing into your head. Your name isn't Zerosi. Your name is Ewan L. France. But somehow the name Flash sticks in your head as well. You figure most people call you Flash.
So yeah, I'm gonna have a moment of stumble there, but then manage to finally say, my name is France. Ewan L. France. But some people call me Flash.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Flash. My name is Bill Stanley, and most people call me Patch around here.
Well, nice to be meeting you there, Patch.
Okay, you give him the 38 cents. He gives you your change.
And Grug's going to put on the clothes.
Okay, so Grug's putting on the clothes. You're getting the stuff. You kind of look at the tobacco. You were more curious as to what it was, and it's starting to come to you that you're supposed to put it in your mouth and chew, which suddenly becomes very repulsive to you. But Ovac, on the other hand, kind of looks over, and all of a sudden you have this desire to take that pouch.
So then I just ask, Zerosi, do you mind if I just take a dip?
Well, I'm gonna just be fine with you just taking the whole thing. I bought it for you.
That is very nice of you. Now, can you ask the nice gentleman about a black suit? I would like a black suit.
So as this conversation is happening, it is sort of mid to late afternoon. The sun is just beginning to sink in the sky, and you suddenly hear outcry of laughter, and that's when you notice that across the street is apparently the inn or tavern, because music and laughter is coming from it now. It's just started to pick up. So some sort of event or happy party is going on over there.
Grug comes out in his new clothes. Grug-like. Grug think maybe we go check out that party.
Yeah, I think that going across, worst case scenario, we're gonna need a place to stay for the night anyway, so...
You're talking to us. You're talking to us.
I'm asking about my black suit.
All right. So yeah, you guys
The
hear
rusty one.
you guys hear Ovac asking Patch if where he can get a black suit. Patch gives him a quizzical look for a second, but then hearing your other conversation between Grug and Zerosi, he's like, well, I was fixing to head on over there myself. I got me a conversation to do with that beautiful Miss Daisy.
Well, then why don't we accompany you on the way over?
Let's close up shop and head over there. I'll meet you over there if y'all want to head over there right now. I got some, closing up to do.
Okay. And as we leave, I'm gonna mention, I was overlooking at his clothes. I'm pretty sure there's no black suits here.
No, I do not want to buy a suit from this man. He ignores me all the time now.
All right, so you guys cross the dusty street. There's, like I said, it's about late afternoon. It's probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sun's beginning to set because it's fall, late fall, and there's still noticeable amount of people. It's not like a crowded street, but there are still people walking on the street. But yeah, you go into the saloon, and it's a 3-story building. Okay, the ground floor saloon has like 5 tables, a piano player, a large bar, Stairs going up to the second floor, a door behind the bar that obviously leads back to some sort of stockroom or storage room, you're assuming. But the saloon is crowded. All the tables are full of people, okay? There's gambling at a couple tables, sitting and drinking. You notice that most everybody is dusty and dirty and has like a sidearm of some kind, whether it's an old school army pistol or a 6-shooter or a Derringer or something. There are also about 4 or 5 kind of saloon gals, scantily clad with the big dresses and the boobs pushed together and up, walking around. The bartender, little thinning hair on top, redhead bartender, is behind the bar. It doesn't stop her, it doesn't like get quiet when you walk in, but you do notice several people kind of turn and look over at you. And one of them up at the bar turns over and looks, and he's like, "Holy crap! Dutch!" And immediately, Ovak, you realize that your name is not Ovak. Your name is...
My name's Oren L. Deadmond, or Dutch, as
Correct.
I'm known as.
So, yeah, that comes flooding into you. Your name is Oren L. Deadmond, but a lot of people call you Dutch. But anyway, he's like, "Dutch!" And he comes like just barreling over to you like he hasn't seen you in a long time. He's totally thrilled to see you. Young fella. He could easily be your son, if not your grandson. He's probably like 18, 19 years old, young face. But it triggers. Like as he's getting closer, he's called you Dutch and he's getting closer. He's a young guy. It just triggers in your brain that you know him. You know that this guy's name is Andre Facio, and he's called Italy because of his Italian parents, but he's about Italian as baseball, but they called him Italy when you knew him, but you're not really sure where you knew him from yet, but you know him.
Oh, dang, that you know, oh, man, I'll see you forever.
Still crazy as usual, Dutch, and he slaps you on your back, but then as soon as he does that, he seems to notice Honkwe standing right beside you. And he's like, "Holy shit, Dutch. Where did you find yourself a fancied up engine?"
Oh, I'm my friends with the
And I point to a Flash,
Okay.
and then I gesture to Honkwe as well.
"Oh, he must be your engine then."
Yeah, it's always nice to have a little hired muscle around.
Okay. And as he kind of turns to talk to you, his jacket opens a little bit, and you see a silver star on this young man's chest. Flash, you realize that the strange writing, you somehow can decipher it. You know what it says. You can read it. So apparently you're literate. But it says deputy, which also sends a trigger down your spine, in your brain. He is a servant of law and justice, a hand of the law in this town. Absolutely. As long as you know how to keep them engines in line, they're great serving fellas. And before you can get offended and say anything to that, the tavern does fall utterly silent as the doors behind you open up. And at first you think everybody's silent and looking at you, but you realize quickly that they're silent and looking at whoever's behind you opening the door. As you all turn and look, you see someone not quite as tall as Grug, but still pretty big individual, wearing a very long gray trench coat with a gray military-style cowboy hat with the little gold band around the top and the 2 little prongies. Obviously, some sort of ex-military officer, and by the look of it, he wasn't on the right side of the military. And he says, "Oh, yeah. Y'all fellas don't need to stop having a good time just because old Colonel Daughtry's walking in the bar." And we're going to stop right there and pick it up next week. Welcome to the world of Boot Hill.
Was that Mission Impossible?
Oh, okay.
I don't really know that I would do anything. I would just go up to Ovak.
Okay.
Really. Grug, follow Ovak.
Well, Vic, I'm glad you made it out
I'm
alive.
Grug. You're Ovak.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck. I'm turning
Why
into
are we
Brad
all
now.
calling Ovak?
Because we're trying to remember our other names.
So actually, cut that. Cut the part where I answered. Yeah,
Gotcha.
crystal
Yeah,
clear.
Greg,
Yeah.
Greg, cut that. It only happens if I say it. I don't listen to you.
Yeah.
I mute you the whole time. So
I know. I actually figure you actually have somebody else come in and re-record my whole part.
every week.
Well, you're free to go once we reach Promise City there, Injun.
I'm gonna go here.
And I go running off towards the.
So loud. It's not the loudest thing I've ever heard. God.
I'm gonna go running off towards the.
No, you're going to redo it because I pissed my pants.
If the listeners could see us jump.
Good God.
No one was doing anything.
I was in a deep staring contest with Brad, and then he shoot danged me. Yeah, back up, for the love of God.
So, Ovak, you're going back to check on the guards in the prison car, and the wounded guard is there, and he's kind of looking at Ovak still. Sort of a.
I'm Grug still Grug.
Oh.
Yeah, I still haven't changed my name to Ovak. I know. Ovak, you go back there, but Ovak, you're standing here.
All right.
Dang, I don't know about Greg, but yeah, no, I won't have him go settle down.
That was a long one.
Do you want to actually tell me what you said?
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
What were we talking about? Because I don't even know.
He was telling us the recommendations on